Well,
here we are, left brain and right brain.
I think you got that right. This actually takes a certain amount of courage on the part of Apple. This could be rather embarrassing.
We're going to approach these commercials just as we do movies on our show. We flipped a coin in Chicago to see who would go first. We had an argument, of course, over who was going to flip the coin. And we're going to give the commercial 0 to 4 stars, just like we do our movies. In our newspapers in Chicago, 3 stars being the critical turning point, 3 stars being thumbs up. 4-star commercial would be, if you don't own a TV set, buy it, leave it on at all times, and watch it with your eyes open at all times. Under 3 stars, if there's anything growing in your refrigerator, go to it immediately during the commercial. And 0 stars, burn any wires entering your home so that you might not get the signal through something other than a television set. Roger did win the flip of the coin, that very important flip of the coin.
And that's why, as you can see, I've gone first.
Right. He now goes first, I'll reply, and then we'll knock around each commercial.
Okay, I'm going to introduce the commercials that we review, then we'll look at them again briefly so you can see some of the things we're talking about, and then we'll come out and engage in a crosstalk. And I'm going to start with I believe the second commercial in the order that you saw them, the one where the images cut to the music of Teach Your Children Well, which must have been an expensive song to buy the rights to, but it was probably worth it because the people who are the right age to be the parents and teachers of the kids in that commercial are the same people who loved that song the first time around in the 1960s. They were into flower power then, they're yuppies now, and the music is a wonderfully subtle way, when you think about it, to get this kind of indirect message to them. Let's look at it again and then we'll discuss the visuals.
Teach your children well, their skill will tell how life will go by, and show them their own dreams. The one they'll pick is the one they'll know by. Teach them how to think, teach them the things that they can live by. Show them how to grow, because they know how much they must try.
Nothing's more important than teaching children well. That's why more schools teach on Apple than any other computer.
So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
Oh, well, how could you be against that commercial? I liked it. It made me feel good, although when I thought about it, I realized the images were not exactly startling in their originality. This is basically a very well-photographed montage of your standard teaching your children well images. The shot I liked the best was that one where the kids were all holding hands while they were going in parade past the exhibit in the Natural History Museum. Now, I've noticed that the only automobile ads I really pay close attention to are the ones for the car that I already own. I'm validating my decision by reading the ad that I bought the right car, and I imagine that to some degree this commercial is aimed at parents and schools that have decided to teach their children with apples. It tells them they made the right decision and they can feel real good about it. I give this commercial 2.5 stars.
Well, we have our first disagreement. Of all the 10 spots, this is my favorite. As a father of 2 young daughters, this one really hit my heart. Terrific music. I thought the creative imagery was wonderful. I agree with Roger, that is the single best shot going by the exhibit. I remember all those times I went to the Museum of Natural History in Chicago and lost my lunch because I didn't want the food in the bag. I like the way they held up about to the 6th shot before showing a computer, then went away for 1 shot, then back for the computer. I thought that was proper editing and proper reinforcement. The ad does a lot of things well, I think. It humanizes the computer. It's as much a part, this ad is saying, of growing up as learning to ride a bike. And it lays a gentle guilt trip on any parent or teacher, both potential buyers, very important, who does not teach their children well. I give this film, I have to call it, I can't get out of that, I give this film 4 stars. This is the best.
What do you think about my theory that this commercial is aimed more to people who can feel good about the app, as much to the people who can feel good about the apples they already own as to people who don't own apples or any other computer.
I think that it certainly will do the first thing you said to make them feel good about their choice, but I think, and my only problem with the commercial is, I think this sells computers to children so well, I just wonder if the Apple name will stand out in people's mind. This is, I think, an extraordinary commercial. Let me just finish this thought. An extraordinary commercial. Yes. I'll be hammering this theme home today for the next few minutes. I just wonder whether the Apple name is hit hard enough. It's hit early. I think the commercial's a gem. This is my second favorite of the spots because it speaks to people who are afraid of computers and also to bosses who want to get the most out of their employees. I also like the idea that a computer can help draw out a person's potential that otherwise might be squelched by traditional corporate environment. Okay, let's take a look, see if you agree.
Put Macintosh in the middle of your company, and some remarkable things start to happen. Those who shoot from the hip suddenly show signs of organization. And those who live by the book show glimmers of creativity. Ideas surface from people you thought had retired. Reports that could bore the dead sparkle with graphic clarity. Your 8th floor will actually communicate with your 7th. Presentations begin to border on the flamboyant. And your most tireless worker will actually have time to take an afternoon off. And a budding genius will be found where once a face was seen.
That's very good.
But not heard.
Very good.
And one by one, each and every person in your company will begin to discover the power of Macintosh. The power to be your best.
You see how that one sings a little bit more with the announcer's voice. It's you almost want to, in the old ad lingo, stand up and salute. I think the vignettes are well chosen, from the turned-on old fogies to the turned-on young fogies. Rarely, I think, has there been better PR for computers in general. I give the spot 3.5 stars. I really do like it. Again, I wonder if it simply sells just computers or Macintoshes. If they were my spots, I'd put in that name recognition more. Why take a chance? I think it also has another piece of beautiful line, which is, a budding genius will be found where a face was seen but not heard, over that sweet kid's face. That's good writing and good casting. Whoever did that spot, I think they did a very fine job. 3.5 stars.
Gene, from the time I've spent around advertising people, I think you're sounding more and more like their typical nightmare client who looks at the presentation and says, it's a good commercial, but I'd like my name to be mentioned another 17 times, perhaps every 2.5 seconds. Maybe you could just put the word Macintosh up there and keep it up for the whole time, flashing, lights around it.
It worked with those little B's and little A's back from my childhood, you know. I remember.
I love that sign out in front of your house, the Siskels, the Siskels.
Just repeat the line once. They just did it
fine.
there.
Okay.
They just did
well,
it
you
there.
should
And
be
I liked
happy
it.
then. I mean, what are you complaining about?
They did it. I didn't do it. They just did it there.
Thank you. The thing I noticed first about this one was the narrator's voice, which I liked a whole lot.
Yeah, when he said that line, right?
And a budding genius will be found. The Macintosh has found one right here at this presentation. Wonderful. The voice made me think of Gene Herschel, the guy the Academy named their humanitarian award after, you know, kindly old Dr. Christian. It was a kindly old storyteller's voice, and looking at the commercial, it occurred to me that the spot is ostensibly aimed at management, but has as its concealed purpose creating a desire for the Macintosh among the workers. Because who cares most about an office where once a face was seen but not heard? Well, the guy who owns the face, that's who. And the same goes for those fresh ideas from the has-been guy who looked like Deadwood, which is what many of us think we look like most of the time. It's a clever commercial because it speaks to the boss, and by the end of the commercial, it's got the whole workforce marching right along in the same cause as the commercial. Also, the soundtrack, just by itself, if you listen very carefully, kindly old Dr. Herschel builds to kind of what is a climax for him, you know, because he's like this, so he can't get too, not Vince Scully, you know. And then he comes down half a note and says, and a budding genius will be found. And at that point, it's almost like music, because you're just right along with it. This is so wonderful, and the budding genius is sure to be me, you're thinking, as you watch the commercial. And so I give it 3.5 stars, too. I think it's very effective.
One final note. I've given positive reviews, I realized, after I did all this, to all 5 of the spots that we've reviewed. I don't do that very often. I average about liking out 1 out of every 3 movies. And in some, for me, speaking, this is one of the more impressive series of commercials that I've seen. I've seen a lot. Especially, I think it's an impressive series if you run just the ones that we picked. In fact, they're so good, they're almost good enough to make me, a movie critic, want to watch primetime TV in order to see them again. Almost. Thanks very much for having us here.
Thank you very much.